ki khubor ka Batisi TV lawan rashapi da ka Orange Nissan Lumso po near Fire Brigade Shillong.
Menteri Rangba ke Jelau Konrad Sangma haka hanyotrik ubnai risau arajar arpuai ula plepak ba ya ke Jingïathir ya tai ke bashisngi Halor ka phang universalizing community led natural resource management in Meghalaya ke Long State Convention Center Shillong hak bali shimbentalang do menteri ke Sarkar Jilla uba pej ya ke District Council Affairs uba lakmen rembui ke Chief Secretary ke Kong Rebecca V Suiñ bat kiwei nang tadi ki laingut ki Chief Executive Members jangka Khasi Jingïada but Garo Hills Autonomous District Council. Kani ka Jingïathir ha kani ka sngi kalong ban wanra ru ye ka Jingïatra lang ha Bneng ki Autonomous District Council katnat forest but kiwei kitnat trai kam jangka sarkar.
Forests and forestry resources constitute a major chunk of overall natural resources available in the state, with over 3/4 of geographical area under forest cover. Management of forests in Meghalaya is both under the state government and the Autonomous District Council, and laws, rules, regulations governing the same are framed by the central government, the state government, and also the Autonomous District Councils. We all know that forests are subject in the concrete list, so both state government and the central government can legislate. But we also have a situation where we have 6th schedule of the Constitution which empowers the district councils for control and management of the forest areas, except of course the reserve forest, which I think is about 5% of the total geographical area in the state. It's a minuscule amount, compared to the huge geographical area under the district councils. So in view of this peculiar position of forest administration, management of forests in the context of Meghalaya requires a lot of coordination between the state forest department and the autonomous district councils for ensuring that both the authorities comply with the acts, the rules and regulations notified by the central government, the state government and also the district councils.
The presentation in the technical session, roadmap for strengthening the legal and the institutional capacity of the Autonomous District Council in Meghalaya, and strengthening legal and policy frameworks to support forests and natural resources planning at the ADC level is a welcome step towards our effort to promote and conserve our forests and ecology. The challenges before us due to globalization are many, from the depletion of forest cover due to mining, quarrying, unregulated felling of trees, for timber and charcoal, to loss of forest cover due to urbanization. The challenges before us today are how to balance livelihood and development with the environment, which is a fine line to traverse. The United Khasi Jingïada Hills Autonomous District Management and Control of Forests Act 1958 is in consonance with the time-tested customary clan, community and individual forest ownership practice, with a view to provide for regulated raising and operation of forest plantation in such autonomous district to maintain sustainable forest cover. The Khasi Hills Autonomous District Council intends to have an in-situ inventory of its forest products by aerial of cadastral survey maps to show its area as well as item inventory in its forest, including sacred groves which we call Lau Kentang, Lau Adong or Lau Suma in our traditional custom.
As we know, land is a very important criteria for the maintaining of forests or natural resources. And we know in the state of Meghalaya that land belongs to the people. And we know that the administration of land also have many authority, be the state government, be the district council, be the AIM or the law, the clan or the core or the kupor. And it's very difficult to deal as one agency until unless we have enhanced the capacity of this institution to know that the critical nature of maintaining the balance of forests, water, and land. It is easier said than done. We have seen that the Forest Act and rules, but by the time of implementation, there is a conflict between the state and the district council, conflict between the district council and the village. When we talk about the Meghalaya catchment rules, we have seen that it is very difficult to implement. We have the Biodiversity Act and rules. We have the Wetland Authority. But all these authority, all these rules, it remains on paper because at the time of implementation, it is very difficult for any agency to implement. So it is a time that streamlining of this rule, how to work within the parameter of the rules without intruding much to the domain of neither this council, nor the state, nor the village as stakeholder. It is a very, very important. And we know now with this Jal Jeevan mission, where it is implemented all over the state, where we have a very ambitious plan that to complete this project by December this year. And we know that in there is difficulties in finding a source of water, where some village they claim that this source of water belongs to them, some clan they claim that this source of water belongs to them, and it's very difficult for the department, very difficult for the government to go ahead with the scheme. So it is better that the government to come to see that how to synergize all these authorities in working together to preserve the natural resources, to preserve the water, to preserve the land.
Lawi yang kepenting yang hanya to vokal air le mi pair manda up manda bichar hanya to organiga ti muyong kubuk muyong kamtam cita kita yang sekewituan kau penkta ya ka rekoman komlong kamtam kita yang gua hagani ti ciap ti mo gua pensi penjet ya ilom gua okamju ya kijing amkam gua hagi jing to ogram karyam kibituan ki rekom penjet ya kemarin wat hadu ko de chnayung chnasam ki nong chong chnong yong mbam de bichar dapat benia wa tap hini thau to chna hini thau iwom to da chna kurma ani le wanra ko ke jing duknom ya ka pateng ko wan sagibituan khamtam wa kat kaman hagata ki chnong yong kat ni thi hagidin ki praw dadan pathar nagini ki manchwa yong dadan pathar kat ko em dong hewo thung salan mem khamtam hau em gayap kasa yeg du gudang em haganiam thang ue wo yo yeg ding thang hei thai wo hajan haplai de kisan ni 6 kilometer lali thu tangkat yo eta ge ding thang ni to ta chimon ya tai ke thau yong chitai ki bituan ki wa chami ki wa dang em chu ki wa penjet ya ga marian khamtam ki ding yo dang to phai kim ki wa dat thang pathar dagi nong chong chnong ni bentau wo thang pensawha ide khamtam ki portlang thang ni kilo dengan lang ko ta idin ko dang to im nang to ne usak gani mi go u ai mensen dei ya kemudian menggawi ke yong dang mani ki usak tim ha ka pateng ko wan hay to ki dioro naga liang ke yong barbor naga liang ke chnong iju mana iju percai hendrei diwam bio yu dim bio chem la mana la percaya hadu katno le mango kamolai lang.
We always try to find ways in which more livelihood can be created, and sometimes those ways are not the most environmentally friendly ways, and therefore you'll always find this conflict between economy, GDP, growth rate, consumption, livelihood, mining, all these aspects versus what is good for the ecology or the environment. So it's really the balance between these two that we're trying to work out. Now I heard some of the participants mention about the fact that mining is not good. And I can assure you there'll be a lot of people who will be across this other side will say mining is really good because it makes sure that people's livelihood is there. It gives bread and butter to the people. So who is right and who is wrong is really the question. And is there a way in which we could balance both and ensure that we could actually move ahead together by ensuring that there could be livelihood, at the same time there could be minimum damage or no damage at all to the economy, to the ecology. And that's really where the issue lies. And today, all of us here, different stakeholders, different governments, I should say, whether it's the district councils or whether it's the state government, whether it's different agencies, all of us are coming together to play our part in trying to address this particular issue. And today, thankfully, with the help of technology, we can actually achieve, if not 100%, at least 60 to 70% of this goal. Whether it is to minimize the impact on environment, as I said, mitigate it, or even to adapt it. Another aspect to all of this, of course, in a larger picture as a government, is to ensure that we create livelihood for the people, which is also sustainable in nature. Now, many years back, the NGT had come in and completely banned rat hole mining. And that led to a complete chaos in the economy of the state, in the livelihood of the people, in the revenue collection of the state. Now, I'm not here to judge what is right or what is wrong. I'm just here to put my points which are important for discussion. Is that I've always believed that when we want to stop something, we cannot simply close it down. We need to create a parallel system first and allow the people to come onto the parallel system, and slowly we slow down things and finally eliminate certain areas. So creating parallel livelihood opportunities for the people is equally important than simply saying that there should not be any mining or there should not be any other activity that is bad for the environment. So it's not something I personally feel, it's not something that we can sit down and just simply say close everything, because there's an entire ecosystem that we are in, and balancing this ecosystem is really where the challenge lies. Having said that, now the climate aspect comes in. When we talk of climate change, we all are experts in this, and there are two aspects to it mostly. One is mitigation and one is adaptation. So once we talk about mitigation, we talk about how to minimize the impact of the climate change that we're doing. So all these activities that CLEMP is doing and other organizations are doing are activities to mitigate and to minimize the impact of environment, of climate change on us. But at the same time, we need to realize and we have to learn and we have to accept that climate change is happening. And it's not going to be something that we'll be able to reverse completely, if at least for the next many years. And therefore, having accepted that climate change will take place, how do we adapt to it is also going to be important. Whether it's in the designs of the buildings that we have, whether it's in the kind of the agriculture products that we grow, whether it's in terms of what the water resources we have, how we manage them. So it requires a full holistic approach on how we're going to actually move forward. And that is where institutionalization comes in. But at the same time, we also have to realize that every department and organization will do their part. And it's not always possible that in every process or every program we can be working together, but the objectives could be commonly put in. The roles, well, we are going to do this while district councils can do this. So please today, while we're discussing the different rules and the laws that have been made by the councils and the state government on how effective they have been, how practical and realistic they are in given today's world situation and the kind of situation we face, you need to look into all those aspects and maybe if necessary amend these laws so that there could be synchronization between the different aspects of what the councils do and what the state government and the other stakeholders should be doing. And I'm presuming that the Center of Excellence for Natural Resource Management and Sustainable Development will play a key role, and we have agreed to making this because we felt that there needs to be a platform, there needs to be a focal point where all these activities can be monitored. If we as a society start talking about climate change, we will realize that the importance of it, we'll realize that we all have a role to play, and even small things we do in our daily lives will make a huge difference to what's happening and what's impacting our environment. We all know the danger that we face, and it's really not for us as much as it is for our future generation. And therefore, what is it that we're leaving behind for them is really what concerns me, and I'm sure that's what concerns each and every one of you.